sexy you got going on, girl. For real, word is born. Check me out. Yo, let me ride you sexy in the middle of the night. Candlelight, bubble baths, and that's the have. Me, I'm a throwback, grown man, I'ma beat that. If it smell good, I might eat that. But let me stop that, take a sip of the yak, fall back on some Grey Goose and some cash stacks. I can see it in your eye, you like my super fly in the late night, because it's deep in you. With the small talk, and the swagger and the big walk. So let's pop the cork, because when it's all said and done, I just like to fuck like my name was Big Pun. But right now, it was all about you, it's all about me. So let's connect and make this rated X.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl.
Feeling your body work from your hip to your lips, you got sex on the beach. So let's take a sip, looking like the Caribbean. Your motto, that's what I'm singing. With the flames, I don't even know your name, but later on, we get it on like a storm, like a pleasure and pain. You ain't gotta run game, throw your outside, yo, see if I can tame. Let's take it cool, and let's switch lanes or some positions, like R. Kelly with the 12 play. So let's get some loving, and the baby oil and back rubbing, like a Rick James with the super freak. Kick a girl with the diamond pearls.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl.
Yo, if this world was mine, we can keep it on the shine. Every day, it's a thin line in the bed sheets. You can beat the heat from my brother, man, I stand tall. Yo, I never fall, yo, I got the ball. So you can roll with that, mommy looking good. You can lay on your back, nice and flat. Yo, that's the way it's going down. You can check my crown, cause Al ain't faking moves at all. I stand tall, so check out the flow. I'm down for the dough, mama, you ought to know how I gets down. I got the crown, ain't gonna do what I gotta do, cause I'm here to make moves, so no playing. And yeah, you hear what I'm saying, yo, now coming through, no time for delaying, hey.
You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. You know how I feel. I feel about you, girl.